Hey, this is Tom at Talon Guitar Works. I'm a licensed repair facility in Southwest Florida. I am also an OEM builder here, and today I'd like to talk to you about what's the future of the guitar shops and the guitar industry as I see it. And to understand the future, you have to understand where we came from first. Most guitar players started out buying a guitar out of a catalog or from Sears and Roebuck or from Montgomery Ward and Person. They had a really limited selection of what they could get, but this was the starter guitar that you went and took lessons on. Now, if you were in a more built-up area or in a city, you might have had a few music shops. Most of the small towns maybe had one music shop. They were more regionalized back then. And I'm talking about the 60s and the 70s. The town I grew up in New Jersey had one music store, and that was on the outskirts of New York City. So some people may have traveled into New York to buy equipment, but the music shops, the mom and pops, usually carried Fender, Gibson, maybe another brand that was in there that was floating around, and then they made a lot of money off band rentals for all the area schools. They used to rent trombones, trumpets, and all the orchestral equipment that the kids needed to take music classes in school, and then that bolstered the business quite a bit because they could rent that same equipment year after year and keep the shop open based on rentals only. Well, then we have the development of Sam Ash, and Sam Ash and Guitar Center, while a lot of people like to confuse them and say they're just the two big box stores, Sam Ash actually had a business model. Sam Ash started out renting to professional musicians traveling to New York City. Why? A lot of them were coming from outside the continental United States. It was just incredibly expensive to ship all that equipment, so they would rent it on site. They knew what they were going to get. They were able to do their acts, hand them back, and fly back to wherever they needed to go. Sam Ash also was very controlling on where they put their stores. They controlled their growth, so they were in kind of little epicenters here and there. You didn't see them scattered across the planet like Guitar Center did. Now, Sam Ash was a family-run business, and they really held the reins on what they were doing. As far as I know, they still rent band equipment to area schools also, which is something a lot of the small mom and pop shops got away with. Now what happened is we had catalog sales develop around, I want to say 80s, you started seeing Musician's Friend and Music Go Round, some of these other catalogs that would come out, and people would buy some of the instruments if they knew the instrument well from these places. Mixed reviews on what they liked, what they didn't like about doing it, but shipping a guitar is pricey. Even back in the 70s and 80s it was pricey. Today, with a discount as a business, I can ship a guitar for about $100, and it's a pain in the butt. But to move on from there, what we had was the main brands jumping right on the Guitar Center thing, and they already knew Sam Ash, so it was like, okay, yeah. And that's where you could get the Gibsons and Fenders. They made the floor plans just undoable for the mom and pop shop. Fender can't come down and say, well, you need to buy $50,000 worth of guitars from us this year. If that shop doesn't sell $50,000 in a year, they're going to wind up with a lot of new old stock sitting around, and they have to maintain that year over year going forward. And I'm sure Gibson has the same standards and Paul Reed Smith. Even Ernie Ball Music Band, because I talked to them, somebody wanted me to get them a Music Man guitar, and they said, well, to be a dealer, you have to maintain this floor plan. I was like, yeah, no. But they did have a one-off thing where they would give me a discounted rate from MSRP to actually buy the guitar, which brings up an interesting situation. We see a lot of the manufacturers right now doing direct sales. Why are they doing this? They're looking at the Carvin model, which became the Kiesel model, which was like We don't sell to anybody except the consumer. Now, it takes a little longer to get your guitar, but in other aspects of life, we're used to that. People buy houses that aren't built, that take 2 years to build. You used to have to get on a waiting list to buy a new Harley Davidson. It's changing rapidly now, and now the guitar manufacturers are saying, okay, we forced the mom and pops kind of into submission. Now what do? Now let's do direct marketing like they do. They have no idea what to do with Sweetwater, because Sweetwater is pretty much leading the league right now in sales. But what has gotten away from the big box stores, the Sam Ash stores, the mom and pop stores, is they cut staff first. And they cut knowledgeable staff, which is a problem. If you have people that are working in your guitar store that aren't learning every day about the products in that store, you're lost. They also did away with luthiers, and that's a whole specific video about the luthier crisis. But they did away with a lot of the repair stuff too. They said, well, the repair stuff it's time consuming, it takes up space. We have to have tooling, we have to have a qualified person that can do these repairs, and we have to make sure that they do good repairs or we get a bad rep. And we're going through that now. I'll do a complete video on the luthier problem in about a week. But so we've got pared down mom and pop shops. We're even getting away from the lesson business because there are companies like School of Rock that will sell one of their schools to you in whatever area you are, and they'll help you find the teachers and run it like if you owned a McDonald's franchise. That's the word I was looking for, franchise. So it's hard for a guitar teacher, a piano teacher, or any of those to go out and actually do that when they can do it from home. So, you know, you have to look at that side of it. And we've become specialized in a lot of things that are going on. Like there are specific, I'm a guitar repair facility, that's all I do. I don't sell new guitars to people unless they're my own. And I'm not a distributor for any guitars. I just work from my space, and I'm able to do this and, you know, do a good profit on it. So what's the future? The future of the guitar shops. First of all, any iconic guitar shop that you've heard of, Gruen's, all these guys, they're going to be around forever. They have solid business models. They have guitar techs, luthiers. They have the sales staff that knows what they're doing. There's nothing that bothers me worse than walking into a guitar store and there's brand new guitars all over the wall and none of them are tuned. And the staff's on their phones. And it's like, you know, and then you have to beg for a tuner. You have to beg for an amp cable if you want to play the guitar. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. So in the future, what do I see? I see the regionalized guitar builders rising. They don't have the overhead. For me to build a new OEM guitar probably cost me about $1,000 in tooling and templates and what I'm going to do and how many prototypes it's going to take for me to get that guitar perfect. It takes Paul Reed Smith about $300,000 for one new model. Now, who is this all going to hurt in the end? It's going to hurt the kids coming up because we've seen this advent of the online guitar sales. A lot of them are junkers out there, excuse me. And we have a lot of the influencers out there. They're going to tell you, this guitar is great because so-and-so sent me this guitar and it's just, oh, it's better than anything I ever played. Do you trust them? Come on, man. You know, I've seen guitar influencers do a pro video on a piece of gear and then down the road do a con video on why you shouldn't buy the same piece of gear. It's damn ridiculous. Do your own research. The internet's an amazing thing. You can find information on anything. Look up what's going on, see what's happening, find out, who's building what. There are hundreds of, I would call, tier 2 builders in the United States. One of them is Texas Toast Guitars out in Colorado. Sire Guitars, Shure Guitars, I can't think of his name, Big D Guitars. He's building one-offs up in Chicago area, I think. Then you've got Lucky Dog Guitars that got sued by Fender. And this is something that you really have to put your head around and think about. They sued him because his headstock was similar. Yeah, similar isn't the same. And I looked at the headstock in question, and he won the case. It wasn't similar enough for them to enforce their copyright on that. Now, I'm calling hypocrisy on the Fender thing right now. And here's why. Fender licenses companies all over the world to build necks and bodies for them. They throw them out there without headstock logos, and what do they think people are going to do with these headstocks and bodies? They're building guitars, and this is on the rise. There are more home builders, kit builders, and guitar tweakers out there than any time I can remember. Just before I started getting into Luthiery and working on guitars, I would take my guitar to a music store and have them put the pickups in it, and didn't mind paying for it. Now guys are buying soldering irons, getting the wiring schematics, putting their own pickups in, and finding out they could do it, as long as they do a good soldering tutorial. Because I've seen some horrendous solder jobs come in. But it's all part of the learning process. So in the future, I see Sweetwater just getting bigger. I see Guitar Center, we're all watching them circle the drain for the past 10 years. And I see direct sales out of Gibson and Fender. And we'll probably see their custom shop closed to the public and only open to professional musicians. And we're going to see a lot of professional musicians go to off-brand guitars. Chris Stone, Kingfish, he bought a guitar, a Les Paul copy, from a guy that's making them, Michael Chertoff, I think it is, out of New York. Beautiful guitar. And then immediately Fender put a guitar in his hands and said, hey, we want to sponsor you. So I don't know if Michael is still building guitars up in New York. Guitars looked amazing. But the future is, who do we support? Do we support the online sales? Because I think if we don't have a guitar store that kids can get into, I think we're doing the youth a big disservice. Do we support, the mom and pop shops if they don't have repair services, or if their sales staff is bad, or if they're getting long in the tooth and are a little grumpy? I don't know. Your relationship with your customers will determine your fate. The Guitar Center model, I used to be a big fan. I can't remember the last time I went to the Guitar Center. I'm in my 60s now, and I do remember the instance. The last time I went to the Guitar Center, I wanted to look at a PRSS-2, and the guy said, are you serious about buying it? Yeah, I can afford it. Give me the damn guitar. And this is once again a 19-year-old kid who's trying to get back to his Instagram page as fast as possible. But that's about it. It's something to think about. I think that the iconic shops are going to now start selling internet-wise nationwide. And I'm pretty sure most of the big ones already do. They'll post multiple pictures up and they'll have them out there. Now the two things I didn't cover is the resale, the used market. And I'm just going to touch on that for a minute before I end this video. We've got Reverb that keeps upping their rates and doing their thing on the resale market. And then we've got Sweetwater, which just said, we're going to do used gear exchange. Now Guitar Center already does that, and Sam Ash does that, where you could buy from any Sam Ash store or Guitar Center store if they've listed that product on their internet site. Problem is, you usually get one photo. You're going to have to give them a call to find out the specifics. get more pictures, find out where the dings are. Just because a guitar's got a ding doesn't mean it's a piece of junk. It just means it was loved a little more than the rest of them. So anyway, this is Tom from Talon Guitar Works. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Send me a suggestion in the comments. What do you want to hear about from the guitar world? The one thing I'm not going to do is review amplifiers. Too personal. They're customized to everybody's ear, and that's just a dive that goes on forever. But as far as the guitar stuff goes, fit, finish, quality, I'll look at them. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you exactly what's going on with the guitar, what I think of it, what the future of it is, if it's going to be here to stay, if it's iconic, or if it's going to go away. And on my last video, I left out Schecter still being a luthier, quasi-luthier owned guitar company. They were started out by David Schecter. They were sold, and I know a lot of the guys that originally worked there are still there. They're still doing a great job on their guitars too. So thank you for watching. Hit the like button. Bye.